Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits. I'm drinking from my, it's that Waffle House cup. And I've got my time set on my father's Elgin pocket watch. And I'm ready to have a Zen Fit. And the Zen Fit today is In Search of Madness. I've been writing about madness this morning with a couple of friends, and you know, one of my first gurus, movie guru, was Zorba the Greek. Came out in 1964. So he was kind of like my movie guru all through the 60s. And he said, a man needs a little madness, or else he will never cut the rope and be free. And so Zorba was a little mad. But then when you start looking at madness, what is it, you know? It's and then I just read another little meme thing. It said, geniuses, you know, the geniuses always have little madness, you know. And the line between a genius and a madman is the same line. I mean, when you look at somebody who's a genius, we often think they're crazy. Particularly in India. In India, the saints are often crazy looking. Or they may sit in a loincloth in a cemetery or on a landfill or something. You know, they look and they don't behave sane. You know, I remember Ram Dass used to when he was talking about his guru, they'd be going along, and the guru would just get up and run into the store, run somewhere. What is he doing? You know, get up and do something. And so, in other words, genius or other people, you know, when something doesn't fit, we think it's crazy. You crazy, man. So anything that doesn't fit is conventional thinking. And that's like conventionality is kind of like this placeholder that holds everyone in a place of sanity. So we think what is normal, what everybody's doing is sane. If everybody's doing an insane act, we think it's sane. That's the problem. So even Germany, I've been watching the documentaries on the rise of Hitler. And he marched the whole nation into insanity, and they thought it was sane. And today, we have Trumpism with an alternate reality that's insane from the other view, but from within that reality, it's perfectly sane. So you got two realities. One's sane, one's insane. But from inside of that reality, each reality thinks it's sane and the other one's insane. So you get this. Clapping, the left and the right hit together, that's sanity. But when it goes like this, which is where we are today, but anyway, I digress. The Zen Fit I'm having here, and the title is In Search of Madness. Now, we're trying to get a little idea of what is madness, in the sense that it seems to be spontaneous. It's a mad act. You know, so it doesn't fit. Where does it come from? Well, it just happens, spontaneous. And now a madman, you see, the mass shooters, we say, well, they're mad. Well, from inside the mass shooter, he thinks he's sane. It's the world that's crazy. So the mad act, you see, does not fit the context. So a genius would do a mad thing, and it wouldn't fit the context of social normality, and the insane person would do something that doesn't fit the context of social normality. So what's the difference? Well, there's a sane madness and an insane madness. And I think what what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to understand here, is that we all experience moments of madness when you just drop the reins to the horse and let the horse take off. When you just drop your controls, your social, your fear of what people think, and just take off. When you just surrender to your inner muse and just speak, or when you just surrender to your this little voice inside crying to be free, you just surrender to that and let's see what it does. So we all have these moments, and often we look back and say, thank God for that moment, or, oh, I regret doing that. Why? What was I thinking? Wait, what was I thinking? I'm so sorry, Or thank God it changed my life, I'm a better person now, So these we're looking at kind of like an earthquake, a crack in the cosmic egg of conformity, a crack in the cosmic egg of normality and sanity, you see. So what is sanity but what other people are doing? So if you get in a cultural egg, like Southside Virginia, there's a cultural egg. Every region has kind of like, it's like Russian, here we go. Russian nesting dolls, you see, one after another. These are eggs. These are cultural eggs, layers, sublayers of cultural eggs. And we live in all these Russian nesting dolls. And each one shapes sanity. So they're sanity dolls. When you live inside of a cultural egg of normality of your people, your family, your religion, your group, your politics, your ideology, your race, or whatever it is, you see, whatever that Russian nesting doll is, you feel sane. You're sane because everyone else in my group is doing it. The other ones are insane. So this whole idea of madness really is relevant to our sanity. So sanity and madness are kind of like dancing together. You can't have one without the other. You can't have madness without sanity, and you can't have sanity without madness, you see. So they kind of like dance together. But what we're looking at is not the mad, the one that puts you in the insane asylum or in a straitjacket, because you are entirely alone in your reality. See, that's what we think madness would be. He is the only one that sees reality that way. So in that sense, a mad shooter, mass shooter would be mad because no one else is seeing the world in the way he is. He's flipped out. Something's cracked. He's slipped the bonds. He's out there, you see, beyond the law, beyond sanity. So law and sanity are equated, aren't they? Law holds sanity together. So if you break the law, you got to be corrected and pulled back into sanity. So sanity is within the laws, you see. So they all kind of like fit together. And so then the genius, the inventor, the artist, the yogi master is going to break the law. Martin Luther King. All of our moral leaders break moral laws. Isn't that interesting? All of our moral leaders that advance the consciousness of society break the moral laws of society. So, what's Jesus about? Anyway, but we're looking at how do you find your madness, you see. So, the problem with my life is not finding the madness, but controlling it. So I think we've all had moments where we let go and release the madness, but we can't control it. And that's why we don't want to do it. We're afraid of it. I'm afraid of my madness. What will it do? So I might be violent. I might do hurtful things. I might embarrass people. I might say things I would regret. I might be stupid. What will people think? So there's a great fear of being mad because you don't know what you're going to do. That's what madness means. It means spontaneous. It's uncontrolled. It's outside the law, beyond the pale. Mel Gibson always kind of like his movie characters always were a little mad. They always kind of like a little out there, a little beyond the pale, you see. So this idea of madness is both desirable and fearful, you see. So the whole point of spiritual disciplines, spiritual practice, yoga, Buddhism, Zen, which I like, is to discover controlled madness or controlled spontaneity. Controlled spontaneity. Now the art, so Mrs. Maisel just came back on the 3rd season. Have you been watching that? She loves being a comedian. The idea of not being a comedian is impossible. I have to be a comedian. I have to do it. So what does she do when she creates an act where she's mad? But it's controlled madness. See, so the artist tries to create controlled madness. Robin Williams, controlled madness. Whenever he got on stage, he was mad, but it was controlled. So uncontrolled madness just goes off the wall, blah, 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 and it does become what we fear, insane, not in relationship, unrelated, just by itself, out there, crazy talk. Makes no sense, you see. But controlled madness is controlled spontaneity. So controlled madness, I feel, is what is the goal of the spiritual journey. But what is madness is God. What is madness but releasing God within, the energy of creativity, this eruption of spirit, grace. It's called Shakti in yoga, prajna, in Zen, talking in the spirit. I see, go to an evangelical revival meeting and somebody's talking in tongues, talking in the spirit. It seems to be crazy to somebody outside of the tent, but within the tent it's perfectly sane. It's a spontaneous release of the spirit, you see. So we Christians would put that in the framework of Christianity, but the spirit, this release of energy, does not fit any container, you see. But how do you ride it? How do you ride this energy so that it is fruitful? How do you ride this energy so it does some good works? How do you ride this energy so it creates art? How do you ride this energy, you see, so that it fits in a wider context than the one that is normal? So the madness kind of like takes you to a wider view of reality. So in that view, it fits. You see that? So this right here. So if you're in here, and this is your culture, this is your worldview, this is your sanity, but it's contained. It's got borders to it. Like in a prison with invisible walls, and you bump into the wall. What is this? And you feel your way around the prison cell like a fish in a fishbowl. And you sense this wall, this container, but you can't see it, you see, because sanity is the container. But you know something's beyond it. You feel constricted. You feel shut in. You feel you're missing something. You feel like you're dead, you see. So along comes a madman, and he's dancing around outside of your bowl. And he's like joyful. He's Zorba. And he taps on your glass bowl and says, takes a little madness to get out of the bowl. And his madness touches your madness, and you leap out of the bowl. And now you're in a larger bowl or a boundless bowl, you see. And now you and the madman are dancing together, and everyone else in there thinks you're crazy. And then maybe someone else jumps out. So now you've got three people dancing, you see. So when you're free from madness and dancing, or really it's the same thing when you look at it. You know, in the 60s, dance got liberated from ballroom dancing. Before the 60s, dancing historically in cultured English society, civilized society, was controlled by the steps. So you could only dance within the confines of the steps. Suddenly in the 60s, people were kind of like breaking out of the steps. You don't need any steps. No steps. What? I can't dance that way. You know, so anyway, it's kind of like dancing without steps. But yet you're still in tune with the music. You're not like out of tune with the music. You're in sync with the music, but not through steps, not through control. So our dance, ever since the 60s, has been about control, spontaneity. The control is the music, and the spontaneity is within the music, you see. And it's getting back in touch with the body, with the spontaneity of the body, you see. That's why Elvis drove everybody crazy, because he was just moving like a crazy man. So in search of madness, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of your madness. You have to try it. Take a little step, see what it's like, you see. And if you fall down, if you screw up, that's part of the dance. You come back, you regroup. The thing is, but the spiritual path is that it is learning how to be free within the controls of the conditions you're in. See, there's two kinds of controls. There's social controls, laws, morality, what will people think, customs, traditions, you see. And then there's the control of the nature, the control of the environment, the larger Russian nesting doll, the control of being itself, being in relationship to nature, being in relationship to being without boundaries, you see. That is the larger cultural bowl, the larger sanity. So if we are within an enclosed doll of culture that is restricting movement and madness, and it builds up pressure, you see, we're going to want to leap out to the larger world, the larger being, you see, that is free, the larger dance. And those that leap out are considered to be crazy by those within the enclosure, you see. But gradually more and more people leap out and dance in madness in the moonlight, you see. But the real madness, the madness of the yogi, the madness of the Zen master, you see, is the freedom, is the spontaneity of creativity, the spontaneity of madness that is relationship to being, to the context of life, you see. So in reference to life itself, which is the totality, it's perfectly sane. Everything fits. But from the relationship, but from within the ego, in its constraints, in its thought world, in its laws of sanity, you see, that guy appears to be crazy. But you know he's sane because he connects with your life that is constrained within the egg, you see, the fetus, the embryo, you see. Everything within the egg is born. Anybody outside the egg is the unborn, you see. So we break out to be unborn, and when we're unborn, we're free. And that's Zorba. That's the madness that cuts the rope so you can be free. So thanks for dropping in and having a Zen Fit with me today.